am I off on, like, I totally am with human behavior and all, but like from a mathematical standpoint, I feel like person A, if we really wanted to be technical, could pay off their loan faster from a pure interest rate standpoint. Because in a first lien, when your daily balance is better, but you also like the cost of spending or consuming money is whatever the interest rate is at. So in one way, you could say you could look at it as like a 6 or 7% savings account,
Mm-hmm.
but when I spend money over here, it doesn't cost me 7%. Whereas there's an opportunity cost, there's a control cost of every time I spend money. So while that's a benefit on one hand, it's a con on the other hand, which just ultimately becomes a wash. So I'm not as concerned about it's costing me 7% because I'm also depositing my paycheck in there.
Right.
And so does my question make sense? But like,
Yeah.
if we really wanted to pay off debt, it's my belief that option A technically would be faster, but will someone do it? What I will say is if someone commits to something like this, they might have way more buy-in to stick to the program than put your money in a high yield savings account.
You completely teed me up.
Okay, so we didn't share notes. I promise. You can see my notes right here.
It's interesting. No, so we can create a lot of spreadsheets, and I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to use language that's patronizing, if that makes sense.
No, you're good.
But we can create a lot of mathematical formulas and spreadsheets that prove that one strategy mathematically is better than another. I can't refute the math. There are scenarios that I've seen on your channel where some show that they're about the same, right? Because you've got a tax advantage, tax write-off advantage with a first and HELOC piece, and so that offsets.
True.
Right? That may offset.
That higher interest rate could actually be potentially an advantage because that's a higher.
In a way, right?
Yes.
Now that the idea of let's go spend a bunch of money so I can get tax write-offs is also, there's an argument for that too, or against that. But it really comes down to the rate, and the difference between the rate. But yeah, I mean, are there scenarios where, in theory, on spreadsheets, on using math only, that you could become debt-free faster? Yes, 100%, no question. You mentioned the fact that behavior is
Huge.
Part of it, right?
I mean, that's Dave Ramsey for you.
And so, right, and so I would, that's where this has a monster advantage.
Okay,
in my opinion,
because it's you're committing to I'm going to pay off my debt, and I'm so committed that I'm establishing a first lien. Like,
well, for a couple of reasons, and so back in the day when I was, in my education days, we talked a lot about motivational theory, right, and different ways that people follow through with long-term goals. Reality is, paying off your home in 10 years or 7 years is really short compared to 30. And it sounds like, sweet, I can get this done. But implementing a new strategy for the next 7 to 10, 12 years, the likelihood of someone introducing something and continuing with that gets lower and lower the more difficult or the more deviated it gets from being related to the goal.
So you're saying 2 accounts is more complicated than 1 account?
I'm saying that, in a way, yes. So I'll go down the motivational theory rabbit hole. Yeah. So there's this guy named Vroom, and he came up with this valence theory of motivation, one of the earlier ones. And there were 3 parts to it. One had to do with the first was, when you take an action, will it actually produce a result? Then is that result connected to the actual goal that you're trying to achieve? And then how much do you care about the goal? And so each one of those factors plays into motivating long-term commitment to a certain behavior. And so from a first lien HELOC standpoint, when you deposit money into the HELOC, when you drive in the money, that results in paying down the balance, period, right away. That paying down the balance has a direct result with the goal of paying off the house.
Yeah.
And so,
Agreed.
and then if you care about paying off the house, every single time that you deposit
Every
money
month you're getting closer.
You're getting closer and you see it